Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Media Talks TV with your host Tony J. If you're new here, click the like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification because we got more videos coming up for you. Um, man, hope everybody has had a happy new year. You know, uh, 2025 is starting off to be something different. Of course, first week is always bullshit. A lot of people, a lot of you got New Year's resolutions, but I always say, everybody says the old mantra, "New Year, new me." I go by the mantra of New Year, same bullshit. And of course, this week had to be some bullshit because somebody ran a truck down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And then a Cybertruck blew up in Las Vegas. So, besides all that, I guess 2025 is starting off to be some crazy shit. And I don't know really what to anticipate for this new year, but already this first week has already set the tone for some crazy stuff. I remember when the ball dropped that Wednesday, and I'm sitting in my room, and I always do this thing where when the ball drops, I always pause my TV. I shut the TV off for a minute. And all I heard around my neighborhood was gunshots. And I guess, you know, I had to play this thing in my mind, okay, fireworks or gunshots. And most of the time, when you're living in Baltimore, you got to look out for the gunshots. You know, everybody got themselves a pistol and they fire it off. But this last pistol I heard coming out of my window, it sounded like a fucking jackhammer. So I knew, block away, everybody was firing off pistols. I don't know why they do it every New Year's. I don't see what the point is. But anytime the guns go off, and New Year's, and side note, New Year's is kind of different from other cities because in Baltimore, when a New Year if it's a New Year and the clock strikes 12, you waking up to some bodies dropping. That's how it always was in the city, you know. So I just hope 2025 is not setting off to be some bullshit this year. I just hope not. I don't do the New Year's resolution thing because I feel like it's a waste of time. I done set goals. I ain't even finished the goals from last year. I mean, I had a couple, but I ain't even finished the goals from last year. That's why I say resolutions never work. They don't work. So I advise you to throw out everything and just focus on productivity for a change. Get something done. That's all I say. I know I gotta get something done. I got a whole bunch of stuff I have to clean up out of in my house, and you know. But out of all that, a lot of stuff has happened in the last previous weeks, and I wanted to touch on the situation with Luigi Mangione because I know a lot of people are talking about this, and I never really got a chance to really touch on the issue because I kind of went back and forth on whether or not I should address this topic. But you know, a couple months have gone by, and you know, it just seemed like a lot of things happen in a flash, and I guess this man's really looked at as being a hero, but I don't. I honestly don't see Luigi Mangione as a hero. I really don't. And I'm going to explain why. Luigi is not one of us. And what I mean by he's not one of us, he's not from the working class. He is somebody who had so much privilege and threw it away trying to prove something. And I feel like I've been around kids like that before, um my whole life. And being that I'm from Baltimore and being that Luigi Mangione has such a big connection to Baltimore, I feel like I had to address it because from my own experience as being a black person, being around a lot of wealthy white people, um, Luigi is somebody that could have been one of my friends, you know, but grew up very differently. And a lot of kids that grow up in affluent environments, they tend to be very gifted. They tend to have everything, the connections and everything handed to them. And Luigi in this case is no different. Um Luigi seemed like a well put together guy from what I've read, things, photos that I've seen. Very sharp young man. But this is the trouble about this whole thing. A lot of people look at him as, in some ways, like I said, a hero. I don't consider him a hero. I consider him maybe a catalyst for what should be confronted by normal politicians and normal people. And see, Luigi wouldn't have had to succumb, I believe, wouldn't have had to succumb to doing what he did if our own politicians would hold these multi-million dollar insurance companies accountable for what they do to people. Luigi is just another catalyst in a broken system that shouldn't have come to it. Just like when people tell me why they hate Donald Trump or why Donald Trump won the presidency. And I feel like I put so many of these things together, and it's like what we allow to happen in this country as far as capitalism and politics. We've allowed somebody like Donald Trump to, just like somebody allowed somebody like who's head of United Healthcare to be corrupt and greedy at the hands of innocent people that don't get the coverage that they truly need for surgeries or life threatening surgeries. And it's what we contributed to the system as to why uh Luigi did what he did. Now, I'm not condoning any type of violence towards anyone. Just as it's wrong to kill somebody on a street in broad daylight, a normal working person, it is also wrong to kill somebody in a position of power and wealth. If we allow a door like that to open, anybody that is noble and decent and righteous can also be killed in the same manner as Luigi had killed somebody as well. So whether you thought the person was evil or decent, the point was he killed somebody. And there's no righteousness in that, period. Because what could happen to that guy, even if we decided today that he was evil, could happen to an innocent person that was decent and loving and kind to other people. So, how can you, in your right mind, be okay with what Luigi did versus if somebody were to kill somebody that was innocent? You know, it doesn't make either side right, and killing is wrong. I don't care under what capacity. And the problem that we have today in the United States is that we have become so enamored. We put humans on pedestals to the point where if they fall from grace, it's like in our eyes, it's like, okay, either this person's good or this person's evil. And all of us out here trying to play the God. And I just feel as though what he did when taking the life of a CEO was not just harmful to his family, but also Luigi's family, because now their reputation is damaged. And now they, the CEO, their family now has to live without a father. So if you look at the deontology of the whole situation, nobody came out good on either end of this debacle and his actions. No one came out good. And that's one of the biggest problems. I feel like we get enamored by these so-called heroes, and 2024 kind of taught me something about, after Trump's two assassination attempts, how far the United States is going towards the edge of being anarchists, and how far we have gone towards this whole thing with, you know, really trying to dismantle the system through illegitimate means. You know, even when Caesar was killed, the Republic of Rome suffered tremendously after Caesar's death. It all fell to shit. And sometimes when you try to take people out of power that you don't agree with, well, that leads to complete anarchy. You know, Now, like I'm saying, I'm not justifying what Luigi did. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But I also am not going to sit here and justify feeling sorry for a company that denies people insurance coverage or emergency insurance coverage for life threatening surgeries that people need, especially older people who get denied coverage for their surgeries. Maybe he had a reason to do it because he was suffering from back issues, and maybe there were certain surgeries that weren't covered under his health insurance. So he said, you know what, I'm tired of these people playing with me. And then he just did what he did. And I feel like, in a lot of ways, in a lot of people's minds, people are getting tired and frustrated. And maybe I kind of connect this back to what happened in New Orleans. People are getting mentally tired of the United States playing with people's minds, playing with people's money, playing with people's livelihood, lack of proper housing, the increase of homelessness that is beginning to creep up this year and last year, where people can't find housing. When people are denied the basic necessities of life, people become animals. And I think in certain cases, Luigi became an animal out of necessity and out of survival. But at the same time, I'm not going to excuse him because he comes from a place of wealth. He comes from a place of privilege. This wasn't no rando that did this thing. It was a rich kid with a wealthy family who committed this act. But there's the whole political implications too, right? Now I don't understand, when you lock them up, why there needed to be a perp walk. And to add insult to injury, why did Mayor Adams had to be there standing with the New York Police Department when you're going through your own federal indictment? It doesn't make sense. And if they continue to go down that road, there's a good chance that a jury pool is not going to convict this man. And I think that's one of the biggest scary elements of this whole thing too, is that the jury pool might be tainted to the sense that it can't be repaired because everybody had saw the video. Everybody saw what he did, but in some people's minds, they don't really have a sense of sympathy for the man that was killed, because in their eyes and in the American people's eyes, he destroyed a lot of families. He was a part of a bigger system. When you're a part of a bigger system, you know, if you remain complacent within it because you're making money, and you don't have the moral compass to look at other people and what your actions can do to actually harm them, um, I find it hard that they will ever find a way to try and convict Luigi Mangione. It's going to be deadlock juries, I assure you that. You know, they may convict him and may give him maybe 20 years. They may convict him and they may give him the death penalty. But if they overcharge him, then it's going to get thrown out of court. And that's one of the things that New York really got to be very very careful with, the fact that they might overcharge him to try and jam him through to get the death penalty for him. And that would signal a lot of bells for the citizens of the city of New York, because they're saying, well, a CEO's life is more important than the people that were harmed by delayed or denied coverage. And that's a scary thing, too. That cannot happen, period. You know, but Luigi doesn't get a break, in my opinion, in my eyes. You know, a lot of these white kids, they always had something to prove. And I've grown up around a lot of white kids that grew up in suburban homes, and they had this fascination with the hood, and they had this fascination with you know wanting to do bad things, do stupid shit, and you know you don't want to be friends with somebody like that. Those are the guys, they think that because they get one token black friend, that, well, maybe he's willing to show me parts of the hood or parts of his lifestyle that he had never seen before. you know I had a lot of white friends like that, a lot of white friends that came from affluent neighborhoods, Roland Park, where Gilman is, some all the way out in the county. They all had this fascination with the the hood. And I feel like Luigi is a part of those mentalities where they grow up around white people their whole life, have a good come from a good white family, good wealthy white family, and commit heinous acts. This man threw his accolades away, his education, his his valedictorian. Well, he threw away all those things. He was on top. I would have been able to get a better job than I could. Somebody to be able to work remotely and be and living in Hawaii. That's a very, very big fucking privilege that so many take for granted because, of course, they're white. So, in my mind, I can't feel sorry for them, and I don't feel sorry for them. Because if this were a black person that committed that act, who do you think they would come after? They would come after him plus his whole family. And they make sure they aim for the death penalty if it was a black person that did that. But because he's a white, of course, they're going to they're going to give him the death penalty, no doubt. They might just give him life in prison with no possibility of parole, but he might end up at ADX, one of those mid security prisons. Yeah, I just don't see anybody wanting to try to be like, and that's the thing. The white kids that grow up around black folks, and sometimes a lot of people that are different from them, they always feel like they gotta have something to prove, and Luigi is a part of that. They want hold guns when they little. They want to smoke weed, drink 40s when they little, because they want to try to be with the in crowd, and they always got something to prove to other people. And I think this is the thing. Like sometimes, and also another bigger issue. Sometimes people can crack under the pressure of being at the top too. Not a lot of people think about that. So it could have been the pressure at the top that made him the way that he was. Sometimes when you get to that accolade of success, sometimes you wild out, do something stupid. But of course, in his mind, he felt as though he did what was right. And the people that support him thinks he's a hero. But the difference between those people and him is, you know, are they going to write him letters in prison? Are they going to send him stuff telling that he's a hero? Or they're just going to enable his bullshit, you know, because the people felt like he did the right thing. He didn't do the right thing. What I've heard, the CEO was already on his way to a federal indictment, but he just didn't let the system work its way out to where he could have gotten booked and arrested. I feel like so many people are so impatient with with the world that people are just losing and doing stupid shit. You know, holidays could be the most stressful time of the year. That's why I stay in the house, far away from people. I don't have a whole bunch of people around me because in this day and age and in this time frame, people are nutcases. They're crazy. They're willing to crash out at the drop of a dime. Ain't the latest crazy shit that's going on is people are homeless, people are losing their homes. You got homeless people out on the street, can't afford their apartments no more. In New York City, you got people, like, going by slashing people's faces, shoving people in front of subways. Just, man, It's really bad. And I don't know if it's going to get better in 2025. This thing will get better before it get worse. But anyway, this has been an episode of Media Talks TV. Like I said, be sure to subscribe. We got more videos coming. Got 16,000 views so far. So trying to get to my 100th video. So, once I get to my 100th video, we'll do some more lives. So be sure to stay tuned. This has been another Media Talks TV with your host, Tony J. And I'm out. Happy New Year and peace. We'll see you on the next one.